Can you elaborate?
I'm not sure I want to.
Okay, maybe you and me can talk later.
At first I just sensed it, and then things moved.
Moved?
Yes.
What things?
A lot of things. I saw it.
You're listening to the Fun with Horror podcast with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Hello, friends with horror. My name is still Scotty.
And mine has changed to Andrew.
And welcome to episode number 152 of Fun with Horror. This is the most wholesome horror movie podcast in the entire freaking world. And we are, of course, the podcast in which two long-distance best friends stay in touch with each other by giving each other horror movies to watch and discuss.
Last episode, I got to pick our next movie, and I decided to choose 2024's Presence. But again, wait till the end of this episode, because we're going to hear what Scotty picks for our next movie. But without further ado, hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Did you see our latest review on Apple Podcasts?
No?
That's because we don't have any new ones.
Oh, no. Oh.
Just kidding. I mean, we don't, but I don't care. Whatever.
I
But hey,
know.
if you guys feel like it, if you haven't, go on to Apple Podcasts and give us a little rating and a review.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was really excited just now. I was like, oh, great. That's what a boost. What a boost in morale.
I got something exciting for you.
Ooh, yes, good. Yes, what?
Did you hear about the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie?
I have not, actually.
J.T. Molnar, director of Strange Darling, has expressed interest.
What?
How
What?
amazing would that be?
Oh my gosh.
Especially
That would be insane.
if Giovanni Ribisi is the cinematographer again.
Dude,
That would be awesome.
that would be really cool. That'd be really cool.
I agree with you.
Oh man, oh man. Now I'm going through that movie and adding just elements of Texas Chainsaw to it, and I'm like, this could be good. I hope this works out.
If they're in the car with the blue light on them and they're talking about what they're going to do in the hotel room, and then suddenly Leatherface just rips the car apart and destroys both of them.
Dude,
Is that
that'd
what
be
you were
pretty
imagining?
Cool. Spot on. Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, you know what? We did an episode on Strange Darling.
We did.
Yeah.
People should listen to it if they haven't.
That was my next question, is if you think people should listen to it.
Spoiler alert, yes, I do.
I guess I came onto this podcast today ready to promote ourselves.
You know, sometimes we have to, man, you know?
Yeah,
And
we
that's
stopped.
okay.
We stopped a while back because it just, nobody likes us.
I know, man. I wish someone would just leave us a nice review. Huh. Well,
Have you seen anything lately, buddy?
you know what I started? So you and I texted a little bit this week, and there's a really cool, I don't know if maybe it's still on a deal right now on Apple, where it was 25 horror movies for $25, $1 each.
Yeah.
And you got it, which is awesome. One movie though, I was like, oh man, just looking through the list, I was like, I gotta watch one of Scotty's favorites again, or at least start it. I started it today a little bit ago, but I restarted Fright Night, dude. Yeah, I love that
I knew
movie.
what you were going to say.
I know. I know. That's such a fun movie. It's so fun. It's just it's a good time of a movie that just puts a smile on my face, buddy. And I think part of it is because it's such a great movie, but a part of it is also because we watched it together. We watched the remake in the theater. It's nice. It's got a nostalgia feel when I watch it now. So I love it.
People who know me very well will know that is my number one favorite horror movie of the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently, in December, did a episode with Chuddle the Pod in which we discussed Fright Night.
Yeah, buddy. Yes.
So,
it's just a
and
good
now
one.
not to really bring this down too much, but I just wanted to take a moment. That ended up being a good segue. I just want to send some positive thoughts out to our buddy Brian on Shuttle the Pod because he's going through some stuff. And so, everybody out there, go listen to Shuttle the Pod. Give them all the listens because they deserve it. But also send a lot of positive thoughts or prayers or whatever you do Brian's way.
Yeah.
Because we love Brian. Brian, we love you.
Yep.
And on a lighter note, I wanted to say, and I feel like my voice is the same way today. I was listening back to not our episode from before this one, but what was our episode? The Substance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that little movie.
Yeah. And my voice, I don't know if I'm just getting old or if it's like the time of day, but my voice wasn't as deep and baritone as it normally isn't. I noticed that there was a moment where I laughed. And when I was listening back, I was like, oh my God, I sounded like my dad.
Oh, funny? Oh, wow.
Which, it's not a negative thing,
Right. Oh, yeah.
I love my dad. And it was really cool to hear myself channeling my father.
That's cool, man. That is cool. I love that. Oh, that's very sweet.
It was almost like when I was editing our last episode, as if I could feel his presence.
What do we do now?
Who do we talk to about this? I mean, for real, can we tell anybody?
How do we just walk back in there? Seriously, how do we just go back into our house?
She doesn't mean harm.
What?
Who? Who doesn't mean harm?
We all know who.
How do you know?
They trashed my room.
But how do you know?
Just do. It's the same way I can just kind of look into her.
And what do you see?
I see her.
Presence was directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by David Koepp, and it stars Lucy Liu as Rebecca, Chris Sullivan as Chris, Callina Liang as Chloe, Eddie Maday as Tyler, and West Mulholland as Ryan.
Eddie, that's an interesting name. I think it might be Eddie Maday.
Maday, you're right. I did say that
It's
wrong.
Mayday. Or it may
But
be
that would be cool.
Maday.
Maday?
Who knows?
Maday?
We should have looked it up. We're unprofessional here at Fun with Horror.
No, I am for sure. I never do, and I just do a terrible job every time, so.
Well, buddy, you picked this movie.
I did.
So
Yeah.
guess what? You get to go first in our spoiler-free review section, I guess, is what we'll call it.
Beautiful
but
name.
yeah, without spoilers, my friend, I'm really curious. What did you think about Presence?
Well, at the very end, no, I'm kidding. No spoilers, people. Not yet. I really enjoyed Presence. I had a good time with this movie. Obviously, when we get into it more, there's a few quibbles we'll talk about. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time with Presence. What about you, my friend?
I actually really also liked Presence quite a bit.
Nice.
I would almost say that I loved Presence. I have one major quibble, but other than that, I thought it was a really, really freaking good movie, and it threw me. It was not what I was expecting,
No. Yeah.
and
I agree.
I honestly cannot wait to get into it. But first, everybody out there, we are now about to spoil Presence, which just came out this year. And if you have not seen Presence, this may be a movie that you don't want spoiled. So you've listened to enough of this podcast to give us an extra listen. Feel free to pause it, come back later after you've seen the movie. But if you've seen it or you really, really don't mind spoilers, which I just don't understand those people at all, keep listening because that's what we're here for you. And we were talking about that last week, buddy, after we finished recording. We were talking, there's so many, and nothing against all the other horror podcasts out there. There's a lot.
Right.
But there's so many of them that do complete run-throughs of the movies. They
Right.
scene by scene sometimes,
Mhm.
And we've kind of dabbled in that a couple times. I remember we did that with Hell Night,
Oh, yeah.
Hellfest.
Hellfest, yes, Hellfest. That's right.
I think we kind of did it with Halloween Ends, maybe. I don't know. We've done it a few times. And every time we've done it, it just felt wrong.
Yeah, like forced almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not the way you and I talk to each other.
Right, exactly.
I really like the fact that even though we spoil the movie, and we will spoil like the big pertinent moments of a movie,
hmm
if you listen to the podcast and then watch the movie, there's still a lot of the movie we don't talk about because we just talk about what comes to our heads, you know?
Right. Yep, that's very true.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I want to thank you for talking to me every other week.
Hey, I want to thank you for talking to me every other week. It's really nice. No, it really is nice. Anytime I get to chat with my best friend is never a bad time, dude. It's always fun.
And I would like everybody out there to know when I just said that to Andrew, his cheeks got really cute and like he's smiling and like he got like kind of red a little bit. It's really cute. The way he blushes is really nice.
Stop it.
Stop it. Okay. So anyway, that's a spoiler. Oh, so you know what that means. Oh,
Are you
boy.
taking out the 20-sided die? The
Yes.
one where if you roll a even number, then you say the 3-minute recap. Or if I roll an odd number, I say the 3-minute recap. Is
Something
it that
like
die?
that. Yeah, something. What color? What color's the die?
Orange.
You got it. You got it. The lucky orange 20-sided die.
Woohoo!
So I'm going to start hitting roll and you just tell me when to stop.
Stop.
It's my lucky number 17, which means you're doing it.
About time. Oh boy. All right. This will be interesting.
So, buddy,
Yeah.
I made a phone call.
Uh-oh.
As you may know,
Uh-huh.
my number one Hollywood crush is Miss Lucy Liu.
Yep.
So I called my crush and I was like, I just wanted to let you know, Lucy Liu, how I feel about you. And she said, "Is this Andrew?" And I said, "No, this is Scotty." And she's like, "Oh, can you put Andrew on the line?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, he doesn't live with me. We're long distance best friends. That's the point of the podcast." She's like, I knew that. I listen every week, right? Anyway, can Andrew do the 3-minute recap when you guys discuss presents? Because he's the best. And I said, well, it's random. You know, we don't know who's going to do it. And she said, well, let me tell you a story. And so she started to tell me this story. And whenever you want to go, buddy, go ahead.
Okay. Wow. What a phone call with Lucy Liu. Wow. Oh man, what high praise. Can't wait to hear that story later. God, I love you, buddy. Oh my Lord.
I love Lucy Liu.
Who doesn't? Everyone loves Lucy Liu. She's the best.
Some people might not after this movie. Whew. Go for it.
Okay. All right.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
So the first thing I want to bring up about this movie, because this is important, is that it all takes place from the presence's point of view. The whole movie is from this spirit's point of view. So at the beginning, we see this spirit is in the closet of one room and goes throughout the house. We see the house, and then we see a realtor come in and get stuff set up, and then a family comes to the door to come and look at the house. This is our family that's going to buy the house. It's a mom, a dad, and then 2 kids who are both in high school age. They buy the house, and throughout this movie, whenever kind of a scene ends, sometimes it just cuts to black, and then it's a bit later in the movie, or a bit later in time. So right after this, it cuts, and they're already established in the home. They have everything out and ready to go. Throughout this time, we find out that the daughter, Chloe, has lost not only 1, but 2 friends have died. I believe both were drug overdoses of some sort, and it's really obviously taken a big toll on her, which causes some stress between the family members. Her dad is a lot more empathetic to her. Her mom is not very empathetic at all, and is much more, I mean, honestly, she favors her son. She really favors her son throughout the whole thing. So there's some animosity throughout the family, excuse me. As the family, though, we see this as the presence, we see this animosity. We see, of course, that the dad has a stronger bond with his daughter. The mom has a stronger bond with her son. We also see that Chloe has a bit of knowledge or understanding that there's a presence there. She can feel it. Some things have been moved in her room, and she understands that something's there. And when she brings it up to the family, They think it's stress and trauma from her 2 friends who have passed away. She thinks, though, that it's her best friend who died is the presence in this house. She thinks this. She knows it. She feels it. Her brother at one point brings over his new buddy from school who's a real scumbag, and he kind of has a little crush on his sister, on Chloe. Chloe kind of shares a mutual feeling with him. At one point, they do get together, but the first time that they're about to get together, the presence shakes her room and breaks a couple things and scares them, so they don't do anything. Later on, though, they do end up hooking up and getting together a few times throughout this movie. We'll talk more a little bit about them in a bit. At one point, though, the son, Tyler, is talking about a girl at school that they're making fun of, and his mom is laughing about this, thinks it's very funny, while the dad and sister think it's horrific, because it is. And the presence gets so ticked about this story that the presence goes up to Tyler's room and just shakes the room, breaks a bunch of stuff, rips papers, everything goes haywire. And then the family realizes that Chloe was kind of right. There's a presence here, and they book it outside and stay outside for a while. Eventually, the dad calls the realtor, I think it's the realtor, who has a friend or something that is kind of a savant that can sense sense things that are in a house. So she comes over with her husband and realizes right when she steps in that, of course, there's a presence there. And we find out at that point, too, that, when it comes to death or people that have died, there's no continuous timeline. Time doesn't matter. Things are a little bit skewed when it comes to a presence. That happens. Eventually, we see the boyfriend, we'll just call him the boyfriend, the friend, I think, not Tyler. Oh, and I forgot his name. We see Ryan, who is sort of dating Chloe. He's a real scumbag, and he will try and give her roofies. And at one point, the presence, knocks her drink off so that she won't drink this, roofied drink. Eventually, he says, let me come over, one of these nights. Your parents are going to be gone. I'll knock Tyler out with one of my, pills, and then we can go crazy that night. So he does that. He comes over, he knocks out Tyler with a pill. He goes up and roofies her, and is really an awful, gross person with her and tries to suffocate her a bit, and then puts saran wrap on her face and then takes it off. He's getting kind of off on it. At this point, he's almost killing her, and the presence decides to freak out and goes and essentially shakes the house where Tyler is. Tyler comes out of his drug-induced stupor and runs upstairs and pushes Ryan and himself out the window, and they both fall to their death. It then cuts to a while later, where the family's moving. They're leaving the house for obvious reasons. And we see at one point when the lady was there that could sense spirits, she sees a mirror and she says, I love these old mirrors. They really hold the olden days or something. I can't remember what she says. And we see the mom looking in the mirror. And as the presence, we walk up behind her and we see that it was Tyler the whole time. That Tyler was the presence. So again, like the lady mentioned, time doesn't really matter in the world of the dead. From there, we see that I think that he's sort of done his deed as the presence. He's done what he needed to do, and we see the camera or the presence go out of the front of the house and fly up into the sky, and that's how the movie ends.
While you came in just under 3 minutes, I gotta say.
Hooray!
And I texted Lucy to tell her you did a great job. Evidently, I accidentally hit Eddie Maday's number.
Oh no! Oh no!
And he was like, "This is not Lucy Liu. You're kind of getting weird, so I'm gonna let you go." But I'm sure Andrew did a good job. I'll tell Lucy.
Aw, thanks, Eddie.
So there you go.
Hooray!
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, yes.
So yeah, that ending.
So, okay. I'm going to just jump in and say it. You know me with movies and just being a weirdo when it comes to movies and figuring things out. Pretty early on, I actually thought it was Chloe. I said, when it comes to death, I remember I even said, there's no time frame. It doesn't work the same as us. I said this to Cindy who watched this. She can vouch for me. And I was like, I bet it's Chloe. I bet it's her, or I bet it's someone in the house. It's gotta be, because I get a sense that it is. And it was. I know, weird, right? I don't know, man. I don't know.
You didn't for 1 second think that it was the girl that died?
I didn't.
Man, I hate watching movies with twists with you. You figure them all out.
I didn't mean to. I just, even at the end, Cindy was like, how did you get that? I was like, I don't know. It's a bummer. Like, I wish I didn't, because I think the twist would be so amazing, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, but it doesn't work that way, and it's a curse. It's not a blessing. It's a curse.
Now, without spoiling any other movies, are there any other movies with twists that you did not see coming? I'm sure we've done one or two.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't always get it, so I know there's definitely some.
Did you get the Sixth Sense the first time you saw it?
Well, so God bless my mom, rest her soul. She, 5 minutes into that movie, I saw it in theaters with her, and she and my sister are even better than me at figuring movies out. And she just turns to my sister and says what happened. 5 minutes. 5 minutes in, I was like, all right, well. So I didn't have a chance to guess that movie, buddy.
Well, let me tell you, pal.
Yeah.
On the flip side of your genius, I was sitting here and I saw him as the ghost. And even then, I was like, oh, so he's the ghost now that he's dead? Now he's the ghost? And let me tell you, pal, a moment later, as the ghost flies up into the sky, and it really hit me what had happened. Actually, before that, because Rebecca, Lucy Liu, says he came back to save you. And when she said that, I was floored. I was absolutely floored. I was like, oh my God. Wow.
Nice.
And like tears and everything. And I was just this movie floored me at the end.
Nice. That's awesome.
If this movie didn't have my big quibble, it would be 5 stars. But my quibble's big enough to drop it down to 4 stars out of 5.
Oh, tell me your quibble, man. I want to hear yours. I want to hear it.
Ryan.
Yep. That's my biggest quibble, buddy. Yep. Yep.
I like the idea of the character because I like the way it serves the story.
Right.
And just in case anybody's lost here, Ryan is the guy that Tyler meets at school who comes in, meets Chloe, immediately is attracted to her. But Ryan is immediately this guy that the audience does not like.
Right.
You know, he's like this kind of, he's a douchey dude.
Yeah.
And you can see his manipulations with Chloe immediately when he sits and talks to her. And especially, I guess, as adults, you know, it's just painfully obvious to see his manipulations. But I still didn't hate that, you know? I felt that, yes, but this is how guys are.
Right. Yep.
But there was something about the ending. Basically, that whole scene, his dialogue and the way he did the dialogue just seemed so forced.
Yes.
And inauthentic.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem. And even watching the movie a second time, I was like, okay, maybe I won't hate it as much the second time. And no, like his whole dialogue when he's, you know, about to kill Chloe is just so cringy.
Yes. Yep.
And I just think going back, even though I didn't mind him being, you know, the stereotypical kind of douchey dude at school, popular guy.
Right.
I kind of wish that they had played him as a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know? And let Tyler be kind of the a-hole in a way. Or who you think is the a-hole. But no, that's not how they did it. You kind of figured out right away. Now, I didn't figure out exactly what he had done, but I figured he was not a good person.
You honestly took the words out of my mouth. Like, seriously, I have those exact same thoughts. I even thought at when I was watching it, because I said the same thing. This is really cringy. This is a really cringy scene, which has taken me out of it. I almost thought, man, if he didn't say anything and just sat there and did that, that would be way more effective. I'd be like, yikes, this kid's a psycho.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, if he just sat there and put stuff on it and then took it off and didn't say a darn thing, we know what he's doing. We know he's crazy. Like, that's nuts. He doesn't need to say anything about it.
And you also realize how kind of, in a way, brilliant he is in his method of murdering these girls.
Right.
Because this is supposed to be the third time that he's doing this.
Right.
You know, 2 girls have died, and basically, as you mentioned, if you listen to the dialogue, it's not exactly roofies, it's synthetic fentanyl.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So he gives them that so that they pass out and they have no mechanics. They can't do anything.
Right.
And then he takes this really thin saran wrap and places it over their mouth and nose so that they can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And they suffocate to death. And then people think, oh, they did drugs. You know, they find drugs in their system and they think that they just took a bad drug, especially fentanyl.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that was our thoughts on Ryan.
Yeah. You know, less is more sometimes.
And I began the movie thinking that Tyler, Eddie's acting as Tyler, was a little bit forced as well.
Mm-hmm.
Second time watching the movie, I didn't feel that way as strongly. I still think there's a moment at the dinner table when Chloe is telling her dad, and then Tyler blows up, and there is some dialogue right there in which Eddie sounds like he's reading the script instead of just naturally saying things.
Yep, I agree.
And you know, it's difficult when you have really great actors like Lucy Liu and Chris Sullivan.
Yes,
that you're acting between. Like,
right,
holy crap!
Yeah. I know. Those lucky kids, I'll say that, because that's pretty awesome.
But it was like one moment.
Yeah.
As
I
opposed
get that.
to like a whole movie.
I think a lot of our notes are going to be very similar, buddy.
Well, I mean, on a bright note,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think West Mulholland is a bad actor. Do you remember what we've seen him in?
Oh, man. I did know he looked familiar.
We watched it together, buddy, when you came to visit.
Wait, who was he in it? Are you talking Dark Harvest?
He was in Dark Harvest. He was pretty much the main character's best friend.
Oh, whoa. That's funny.
Yeah. If you saw pictures of him, you'd be like, oh my God, yes, that was him.
Oh, wow.
And even then, he seemed a little bit kind of, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it felt better in Dark Harvest, you know?
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't want to say much about Dark Harvest in case we ever talk about it on here, but
yeah.
You know, I agree.
Now on the other side of all this, Callina Liang.
Yes. Yeah.
Callina Liang was awesome. Was incredible as Chloe.
Yes, I absolutely agree. She knocked it out of the park. Great job.
So let's talk about the movie.
Yes.
And then, because we're going to get to Lucy Liu and Chris Sullivan as well. But the one thing I want to say about this movie, there's the obvious twist, right?
Right.
Which is that the ghost is Tyler the whole time.
Right.
But to me, the bigger twist in this whole movie was that this is not a horror movie.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Did you feel that way?
I did, yeah, for sure. And because I didn't know a lot going into it. I knew that it was from the ghost's point of view. I knew that.
Yeah.
But that was it. That's literally all I knew about this movie. So I assume, kind of had that assumption of, well, it's a ghost, got to have some horror elements, but really, it's not a horror movie.
No.
I mean, it's not.
When the movie first opens, because I knew the same thing, by the way, I just want to throw that in. I knew as much as you did, that it's a movie from the ghost's point of view, and Lucy Liu is in it.
Right.
That's all I knew. That first opening scene where the ghost comes out of the closet and goes around the house and looks at everything and then ends up back in the closet. I just remember the first time I saw that, there was some creepiness to it, but more than that, I just felt sad.
Yeah.
I felt like this really strong sadness coming from the ghost. And let me tell you, man, Steven Soderbergh is incredible.
Yeah.
I know he hasn't batted 100 at all times, but let me just tell you, buddy, there was a time a while back when somebody was asking the question, who are your 5 favorite directors? It took me a while to think about it.
Sure.
But at the end of that time, I don't know if it's still the same now.
Right.
But around that time, one of my top 5 was Steven Soderbergh.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's just because he's put out so many just really good movies. You
For
know?
sure. Yep, I agree.
And so that's why I was super excited about this.
Yeah.
It is amazing how he makes the camera the main character.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yes.
Did you feel
Yep.
that way?
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It was the character that we were all focusing on without even focusing on it. Like it was, I absolutely agree.
I don't know about you, but I never for a moment in this movie
Mm-hmm.
forgot that I was watching from the ghost's point of view. You
Right.
know?
Yeah,
Like, I did,
no, I agree.
I got involved in conversations,
Yeah.
but at all times I was still like, this is what the ghost is seeing right now.
Right. Right. Yeah, I did the same. I definitely did
Okay.
the same. Yeah.
And also, quick shout out to the writer, David
Mhm.
Koepp. You know what all he's written, right?
No, lay it on me.
Well, let me tell you some highlights, but then I'm going to tell you the big doozy of them all.
Ooh, okay. All right.
He's written Jurassic Park. He
Whoa.
wrote the screenplay. Mission Impossible.
Okay. Oh my God.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Whoa. Okay.
And I believe he also did Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Okay.
But in a way, David Koepp has written part of our podcast. He wrote the
does that mean?
screenplay to Spider-Man.
Really?
So every time when people listen and they hear Jesse Ventura, right? Wait, yeah.
No,
Jesse
Macho Randy
Macho Man
Savage.
Randy Savage. What the heck,
Yeah.
Scotty? It's been a while. Anyway, anytime anybody hears a soundbite before our 3-minute recap, they're hearing dialogue written by David Koepp.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I love that.
That is amazing.
Aw.
I love that.
Wow.
And also, if you look at the credits of the movie and it says cinematography or director of photography,
Mhm.
I forget the name in the credits, but it's
Mhm.
basically it's Steven Soderbergh.
Oh,
He named himself something different for the director of photography credit.
that's awesome.
Now, this may be right or wrong. I think I have the number right, but this movie only has 33 edits in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you, buddy.
No, I didn't count. I just read something somewhere.
Okay. That's interesting, though. That's cool.
Now, the other character in this movie, I feel, is the house itself. What did you think of the house?
I loved it. I thought this, well, one, I thought this house is gorgeous. Like,
Yeah.
this is a really cool house. Having
Yeah.
kind of that stairway that goes up is so beautiful. And it just, oh man, I would kill for a house like that. It's awesome.
One of my favorite parts of this movie,
Mm.
and it struck me the first time I saw it, and I loved it even more the second time, is, at the beginning of the movie, they haven't moved in yet.
Right, right.
And we see, as you mentioned, we see the realtor showing them the house, and Rebecca immediately wants the house.
Right.
And then we see the painters come in on a different day to come paint the house.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a cool scene where one of the painters won't go into the bedroom because he feels that there's something in there. But
I love that. Yeah.
then the movie cuts, and suddenly we're in the house. The furniture and shelving, everything's in there. Like it's
Yep.
all furnished,
Yep.
And there's something I love about that. I love seeing the shell of the house without anything inside, and then suddenly seeing the house like just completely furnished and lived in.
Me too. No, it was cool. It was a very cool moment where, it was almost like two different houses. It was so cool, but it wasn't. And it was, I agree. Yeah, it was a really cool moment to see it all just there all of a sudden. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, I love the stairs. I don't know what. Although there is one moment in the movie, I don't know if you caught it too. I think it's when Rebecca and Chris are about to leave to go away for the weekend.
Uh-huh.
And the ghost is following Chris down the stairs.
Oh,
And I swear his head looks like it almost hits the overhang.
I thought that same thing. I was like, ooh, you're close, buddy. Like, you're running down those. You're getting a headache. Yeah, I thought that same thing.
I want to go behind the scenes and find out if he ever bumped his head.
Yeah, because he's not. He's a tall guy. He's a very tall guy. So, yeah, I thought that same thing.
But yeah, I love the house.
Yeah.
There's so many moments in this movie. I think this movie is absolutely gorgeous.
I would agree.
It's just that one scene with Ryan that I really don't care for.
Yep.
And it's not the scene itself, it's just his dialogue. You said it perfectly, buddy. If he had just said almost nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
It was like he was trying too hard to be crazy.
And that's I've said this forever. I feel like with crazy, less is so much more, because if you're acting crazy, we see you acting crazy. But if you're more subtle, if it's a lot less, then I get a little more nervous and I go, that's a real crazy person. You know?
Exactly.
I just think less is so much more.
Yeah. I don't think it's completely his fault, obviously.
Right.
I just think David Koepp, the writer of Part of Fun with Horror, went a little bit too much, too far.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So let's talk about this ghost, because you said it was somebody in the house, but when did you think it might be the brother? Did you? Or did you just, was it more of a nebulous, I think it's somebody in the house?
I think it was more just that. It's somebody in the house. When at the very beginning, when we see, I mean, when the movie opens and the ghost is in the closet, I actually initially thought, because we hadn't met anyone yet, I thought maybe a kid was my first thought, because I guess it's after we see the ghost go there, look around, and then go back up into the closet. So I went, oh, I bet it's a kid. And then I thought, oh, I bet it was a kid that either this was their safe place in maybe like an abusive home, or they were killed in the closet. You know, maybe that was where they died. So that was my initial thought, was there was something about that closet that, you know, had relevance to the ghost. And then once we saw the family, and just, I would say, I don't know, a few scenes in with the family, it just kind of hit me where I went, well, you know, I've seen enough movies where like ghosts, the timeline doesn't exist with spirits or, you know, whatever. I was like, oh, I wonder if it's one of them. So at some point, a few scenes in after the family, I really thought it was Chloe for a lot of it. And then I think sometime later I went, it could be any of them. I don't know.
Well, if you're starting to think that it could be one of them, there's some huge clues later in the movie that lead you to believe it's going to be Tyler.
True. There are. But I don't know if I did.
So when it showed him in the mirror, did it still affect you?
Yeah, I mean, it did. I at that point, I knew it was him, because I had known it was someone in the family. And so we obviously see him die, and I was like, okay, well, for sure, then it's Tyler.
But did that scene affect you?
It did, though. It did. It actually, you know what's crazy is, like, for some reason, I've always had, here's a little behind the scenes for you. I've always had a weird, I don't know if fear is the right word, but there's something about noise that kind of freaks me out when done right. Like, when I was a kid, and I might have mentioned this on the podcast, the old, do you remember the old THX? That sound that would come on before movies, and it was, that scared the crap out of me as a kid.
That one?
Oh, that was good. Yeah, that one. It scared me as a kid. Like, I would have to leave the room when that would come on. There was something about that sound that just freaked me out.
Wow.
I know. Who knows, man.
I loved it.
Oh, it scared me. It was just something about it. I don't know. But I had that same, it kind of brought me back to my childhood, because when we see Tyler kind of coming towards the mirror, there's a hum in the background that kind of builds up to the moment he's there. And I kind of sat there for a second, went, ugh. Like, even though it was a nice moment and beautiful with him,
yeah,
you know, with his mom, it's still, I had a moment. And I even thought about it that night, just in bed, sitting there. I was like, ugh. Something about that moment kind of freaked me out a little. Yeah. Even though it was beautiful. Like, it was supposed to be kind of a beautiful moment, but something about that sound and that moment and that ghost there, I don't know.
It's like a high-pitched whine.
Yeah.
That you hear that comes on. And I think the first time we hear it is when Tyler is telling his mom about what he did to the girl, or what him and his friends did to the girl.
Yep.
And that was one of two scenes that I absolutely loved. Broken record here. We've talked about it so many times. One of my pet peeves in movies is when one person is privy to something supernatural and nobody believes them.
Yep.
This movie, thankfully, did not get too far before the ghost is watching them, and he's watching this story, and the ghost gets so agitated.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when you think back on it, it's ashamed of himself.
Right.
He's mad at himself. So the ghost immediately just goes up to the stairs into Tyler's room and wrecks the room.
Yeah.
And the whole family comes up and they see this happening. And so everybody suddenly believes Chloe.
Yep.
I love that.
Me too. I love the moment afterward when they're all outside not wanting to go inside. It was just a nice, again, that moment where you're like, yes, good. You all get it. Totally agree.
Because that's how I would be.
Heck yeah, dude.
And that's one of the beauties of this movie not being a horror movie, really.
Right.
You know, I think Soderbergh, when he wrote this or when he made this movie, I think that's how he was looking at it. He wasn't looking at it as a horror movie, so he was able to treat things a little bit more realistically.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But the part, I think, which is my favorite part in this whole movie,
Yeah.
and it breaks my heart, is when the medium comes over. Now, first of all, this whole scene is great.
Yeah, I agree.
Because she comes into the house and she immediately sees the ghost.
Yep. I love that.
And I will say that while this movie is not scary, this is the one moment that creeped me out. It gave me like the heebie-jeebies. Because the whole time she's sitting there watching the ghost.
Right.
Like she's talking to the family, but she's looking right at the ghost.
Yep.
She sees it. And that creeped me out big time because it was different from Chloe sensing the ghost. Because Chloe would sense that something was there.
Mm-hmm.
And she would look in the general direction of the ghost, and sometimes that meant right at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the medium comes in, and she gives you all this information that you need.
Right.
Like you said, time is different for people in the afterlife. This thing that's there it's confused. It doesn't know why it's there.
Right.
It's got a purpose, but it doesn't know what that purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the husband takes Chris aside and says, look, this is going to mess her up for a few days. And Chris is like, oh, yeah, here's some money. And he gives it. And then Rebecca, of course, gets mad at Chris for giving them money and says she is never stepping foot in this house again. And then it's got this heartbreaking moment where Chris sits next to Chloe. He's like, you okay? And she's like, yeah, I am. And she's like, are you okay? And he's like, I think I just made it worse. And the ghost turns around, goes upstairs, goes into Chloe's room, and backs into the closet.
Yeah.
That broke my heart.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
That closet, like you were saying, we thought it was its safe place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe to the ghost, because that's where it first woke up, appeared.
Right.
I think the ghost thought that the closet was kind of its safe place as well.
Right.
But why do you think the ghost gravitated towards the closet?
I don't know. I guess I just kind of looked at it as that was its safe place. That was where it was born, sort of, or that was. But I'm sure. What do you think? I'm curious.
The closet is right next to the window.
Oh, right.
So the ghost seems to be not stuck, but it seems to gravitate towards that place right next to the window that Tyler eventually crashes out of with Ryan.
Right.
So I think the ghost continues to go there because that's where its purpose lies, even though it doesn't know it yet.
Yep. That's good.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, that everything just breaks my heart, man, in this movie.
Jumping into that, though, I do want to say, and
yeah,
we'll talk, you know, we still have a few actors to talk about, which we will talk about. But when it comes to Chris, one thing because that moment is one that I particularly loved because I feel like this is just society, how it works, where men have to be men and I can't have emotions or feelings, blah, blah, blah. I really liked his character because he does get vulnerable with Chloe there. And then also when he's talking on the phone with his lawyer friend or whatever and says, you know, whatever. And he says, how are we doing? I'm not okay. And I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Like it just was like I just loved it. I loved the vulnerability. I loved the moments. I really liked Chris because he just let himself be himself and didn't have, even though he's a kind of a big guy and kind of looks like that stereotypical, quote unquote guy's guy or whatever. He's this vulnerable human that just lets his emotions out. And I loved that. I was like, finally, this is
Yeah.
nice to see in a movie where the dad figure is vulnerable and is talking to people like you would when you want to let people know your feelings. I really liked his character for that. I really
His
did.
character was by far I think the best character in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right after the moment you're talking about, I also love that, when he hangs up the phone, he just starts to break down.
Yep.
He's holding so much stress, trying to be strong for his family, trying to keep his family together.
Yep.
I love the moment with Chloe, where he sits down with Chloe and he talks about how he always knew that Rebecca was out of his league.
Yes. Yeah.
And he liked allowing her to make the decisions,
Yep.
There was all that stuff. And there's there's a side story that we don't get to hear all of,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
where Rebecca is in trouble. She's done something bad, embezzlement, whatever it is. We don't really know,
Right.
but it's illegal.
Yes. Yep.
And Chris is contemplating separating from her.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, before they go on the trip, he sits down and he's like, I thought about getting out, but I'm here with you. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to figure this out together.
Yep.
Now, the question is if we thought that Rebecca deserved that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But I like that he made that decision.
Me too. Yep.
And I did feel that she appreciated it.
I agree. I thought so too. And I will say, like, this is awful. And when it does happen in life, there's, I've read stories, and God, I forbid this ever happen. But I mean, any parents that lose a child, you'll read stories about it. And sometimes it kind of tears the family apart. Sometimes it really brings everyone together. And I like to think with this one, just because they're all together at the end, that this, as horrifying and awful as it is, hopefully brought them a little closer. Even though, because they were kind of on that, like you said, he said, let's fix this. And I hope that it was one of those moments. And they are all together at the end. So I look at it too as that way. Like they're going to be strong because of this. It's not going to tear them apart. It's going to be a moment that really brings that family together.
Well, I hope so too. Because, oh my God, you just mentioning that scene makes me think of Lucy Liu's just heart-piercing scream when she sees Tyler in the mirror.
Yeah.
That was some good acting right there.
That was amazing. There are movies sometimes where someone screams and I'm like, I go, okay, whatever. Like it's this whatever. But there are some that genuinely haunt me. And that was one where I just went, that's right. Like that's exactly right.
And the fact that she sits there and she like I said before, she says he came back to save you.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like going forward, she's going to appreciate Chloe more.
Agreed.
Because first of all, she knows that Chloe was right. She kind of blamed Chloe for acting a certain way and just dismissing Chloe as being reactionary to her friend's death and that she'd get over it.
Right.
Chris wants to get Chloe therapy and stuff like that. And Rebecca just constantly pushes it aside and says what she needs is time.
Yeah.
She'll get better on her own. But that brings us to her relationship with Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was weird.
It was super weird. It was really weird, man. Yeah. Yeah. I hated, it just made me really that first scene where she's drinking wine. I just was like, what? I don't like this. I don't feel good. It was just weird.
in my notes, I wrote, what did I write? I said, the Oedipal thing going on with Rebecca and Tyler.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know what Oedipal means, it's a reference to Oedipus Rex, in which the son makes sweet love with his mom or something. Yeah, it has to do with moms and sons. So, yeah, she almost looked attracted to her son, like she was more attracted to her son than her own husband. And then the way she was listening to Tyler tell the story about the girl.
Yeah, dude.
It was almost like she was a schoolgirl listening to a crush tell a story.
That's exactly.
And it
right.
was just, it was creepy, and I think it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree. I do too. But it was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable.
And what I will say, it did add to the sadness at the end. Because
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, you know exactly how strong Rebecca loved her son. Even if it's not in a creepy Pornhub way. Her son was her life.
Right. Yeah.
Everything she was doing, like she said, everything I do is for you.
Right.
So yeah, but there is that other scene, one quick little scene where, and I thought this was kind of a strange scene, but I liked it, where she comes into Chloe's room and she says, "I ironed your blouse for you."
Oh, yep. Yeah.
And then she gives her a little hug, like she's trying.
Right.
Yep.
But just doesn't quite get it. Like she's trying, I agree, but just is not quite there. Just not quite there with her.
I think one of the only other things I have, one thing people come back to when they talk about this movie. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to mention that I didn't really catch, but other people did. Obviously, I caught the scene where Chris is talking to Tyler in the living room, and Tyler is being incredibly dismissive of Chloe.
Yes.
And at the end, Chris says something like, "There's an excellent man inside you."
Yep.
And it's like he's telling Tyler to, just be good to his sister.
Yep. I think he says, "There's an excellent man inside of you. I hope to meet him someday."
Yes.
And I love that line.
I love that line too.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I didn't really register is that Tyler is sitting in the exact same spot on the couch as he is at the end of the movie when the ghost wakes him up.
Oh, cool.
So he wakes up out of his Ambien sleep because the ghost comes down. Now, this is another thing I want to talk about because this was weird. He wakes up out of this Ambien sleep because the ghost kind of tries its hardest. It seems like it's screaming in his ear.
Yeah, but can't communicate. And I like how they kind of did that, where it sort of vibrates and you almost hear something but don't. It was a cool way to film it. I liked it.
And then he wakes up and he immediately yells out Chloe and he runs upstairs, and that's everything happens. But it's an interesting connection.
He became that man, that good man.
Yes, he did. Exactly.
I like it.
And that is also the only point in the movie where he senses the ghost is when he's drinking.
Right.
So that's interesting.
So that makes me wonder too, like, obviously when he becomes a ghost, it's after he's been drugged. I wonder if that has something to do with his memories and stuff as a ghost, because he's drugged when he dies, I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't
know.
I think it's just part of being a ghost. You're in this place. You don't know why you're there.
Right.
The only part of the movie that kind of confused me, and before I talk about it, I want to get your take on it. At a certain point, the ghost, while Chloe is sleeping, it's trying to do something. It's signified by there's a bass, like a boom, like a and the camera shakes.
Right. Yes.
And the ghost is doing it the whole time that Ryan is about to kill Chloe.
Right. Yes.
What do you think is happening there?
I thought it was him trying to yell. Like it was almost like screaming, like wake up. But because it's a ghost, it doesn't quite work. But it was our way of seeing that from like our point of view, as he's trying to get her, but he's a ghost. He can't. Maybe. Yeah. What is your thought? And then I do want to bring something else up too, but we'll wait.
I wasn't sure. I even looked this one up. And in doing so, found a lot of people were very confused about this movie.
Oh, okay. All right.
There was a lot of talk. Like people, after hearing other people talk about it, still thought that the ghost was Chloe until the very end of the movie. Yeah. Like people thought that the ghost was somehow Chloe and that she had died and that the ghost becomes Tyler at the end. And I'm like, what?
Whoa.
You just made this movie way more confusing than it is.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. That's
I don't know. I kind of thought that the ghost was trying to touch Chloe, like trying to actually physically manipulate people.
Oh, cool.
And
I like
it
that.
couldn't. You know, it could move things.
Right.
Like it couldn't even really knock the glass of orange juice off of her bedside table that one time. It had to shake the whole table.
Right.
So
Right.
there's things to being a ghost that we just don't understand, you know? Like
Right.
some people are like, why didn't it just start knocking things off shelves
Right.
when Ryan was doing that to her? Why did it have to go all the way downstairs? And I don't think the ghost is always aware of exactly what it's doing. It's just reacting.
That makes sense. Because that was what I was going to bring up is why didn't it, at one point it knocks down all the shelves in her closet when they're about to get it on. And obviously she's like almost going to die or he's about to, why not? But I like that. He doesn't, it's reaction. I like that.
I feel like it can't mess with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. It the only time it really quote unquote touches Chloe is the point after the closet scene when it brings down all the shelves in the closet and she goes over to the closet and it blows air on her.
Yes. Yep.
You know, which was very cool.
Right. That was cool. Forgot about that moment. That was cool.
But again, that was another bad acting moment by Ryan because he comes over and he's like, what happened? And she's like, nothing. And he's like, and she's like, and like, she's like trying to laugh it off. And then he goes, oh, okay. And his like laugh was so like just forced. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry. I hate to like go back in a circle back to the negative of this movie. But
No, I get it. I know, I get it.
the only other thing, and this is a minor little note that I had, was that if you are paying attention, especially watching this movie a second time, you know, when the ghost was looking away at Chloe having sex,
Yes.
and the ghost like turns away, you know, I just thought that it was being, in a way, polite, like it was a ghost.
Right.
And I thought at that point, I thought that it was either her friend who died or it was just a ghost that was in this house.
Right.
That was there before them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought the ghost was just being like, I shouldn't be looking at this. But
Good guy
now
ghost.
it makes so much more sense. It's Tyler, and he knows he shouldn't be looking at his sister having sex.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's a good point.
do you have anything else? Any other notes?
No, I mean, honestly, it was just such an interesting movie. I had just watched one, I think it's called Host or something like that. Not the Host that you're thinking, but a different one with Tom Hanks, where it's all done from one camera. Here, thank you. Yes, here. And I'm kind of enjoying, like, this is sort of that one where it's almost like you're a fly on the wall in these places, and it's kind of fun. I'm kind of enjoying it, man. Like we just watched that one not too long ago, and then this one, I'm just like, it's just a different take on movies, sort of, or a different way, and I like it. It's kind of interesting.
So, side note, you're saying you actually like that movie?
I did actually like it. Yeah.
A lot of people did not like that movie, but somebody else recently said that I should watch it, so I'm gonna watch it.
I really
soon.
liked it. I mean, don't go in expecting.
I'm gonna expect the best movie ever because you said it was great.
It's Citizen Kane worthy, but I mean, it's just a good movie.
Have you even seen Citizen Kane?
I actually never have. It's been on my list.
Then
since
how do you know? How do you know it's
everyone
worthy?
talks about it. They're like, "Oh, Citizen Kane is the greatest movie ever made." I don't know. Maybe, sure.
Well, you're in luck because my next movie. No, the last thing I want to mention is the music. Good Lord.
Yeah. I
don't even have to ask you this time if you heard the music because the other character in this movie was the freaking music.
Yep. Agreed.
Zack Ryan, not to be confused with country singer Zach Bryan, but the score was composed by a guy named Zack Ryan. And let me tell you, buddy, the soundtrack on Apple Music is only like 16 minutes long.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it's like 11 tracks,
What?
but they're all short. There's not a whole lot of music in this movie.
Right.
But it is so absolutely heartbreakingly beautiful.
Yes, I agree. It really is. It's made for a ghost. I mean, honestly, it reminds me of a ghost music. Like, It just works. I liked it a lot.
And I wanted to bring this up at the beginning because this is a major factor in what makes this movie so heart-achingly sad to me. But I think the music adds so much sadness to this movie.
Yes.
It comes in at the perfect moments, you know?
Yes.
Like the scene I mentioned where the ghost goes upstairs and hides in the closet again after the medium comes in. Yeah, the music starts right as the ghost turns away from Chris and Chloe and goes upstairs, and it's just so sad. And then the ghost is sitting there, and the music continues over the next cut in which we just see the room, and I think it's like a rainy day or something.
Yes. Yep.
And it's just still sitting in the closet, and then it cuts again, and then we see Chloe with Ryan, and the music is still sad. Like the ghost is sad.
Yeah. It's awesome, dude.
I loved it.
And it really is like, I mean, this is one of those movies. I mean, the music, like you said, I mean, it's a character. It really is another character where it amplifies your emotions as it should, I think, as music should in movies. But this one definitely is one that does it the right way, where it amplifies everything in the best way.
In the best way.
In the best way.
Are you ready for 3 questions?
I think so.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Question number 1.
Yes.
What did you think was the best kill or death in Presence?
Well, there's about, 30, 40 deaths in this one. No, I mean, well, it all takes place sort of as one, but I mean, it's great to see Ryan die.
Yeah.
He's a real bummer of a person.
Yeah.
So
Now,
Ryan.
To be honest, I mean, I give the movie this because I do like it so much, but I do wonder if, I mean, it's only a second story window. Would they have really died? Both of them?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe, we're going to go with it.
The writer said they died, so they died.
Right. There you go. What about you?
Oh, yeah, Ryan.
Although I will say, if Tyler hadn't died, we wouldn't have this movie.
That's true, but I hated Ryan.
Me too, buddy.
Question number 2. Good question. Did you think this movie was scary?
So what I mentioned earlier, I thought the end kind of gave me just like with the sound, with everything, that moment. But I wouldn't say I didn't lose sleep. If anything, I thought it was more beautiful than frightening. Not that they can't be both, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't scare me. What about you?
No, I don't think this movie's scary. If anybody asks, I'll say that I don't think this movie is scary, but I'm not going to tell them that it's not a horror movie because I think that's a twist in itself.
Fair.
I will say there are a couple moments like the medium looking right at the ghost that just gave me the creeps. I think when the living people look at the ghost, that creeped me out for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's the idea that then I'm suddenly putting myself in their shoes and they're sensing something or seeing something.
And they're right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. Man. So a couple of creepy moments, but all in all, not scary.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Question number 3, Andrew.
Yeah, buddy.
Did you have fun with horror?
I did. I had fun with this movie. I thought it was fun in a, I don't know. It was so enjoyable. Something very different. Something, I don't know. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I really did. Yeah. What about you?
It's hard to say that I had fun. I have fun talking to you about it. Of course, I always do. I don't know. I don't know if I would definitely say that after this movie was over, I was like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I will say I really enjoyed watching this movie, and I enjoyed watching it both times. Nice.
Okay.
On a big TV like mine, it takes up the entire screen. Soderbergh shot this on a Sony A9 III. It is full frame on the TV, and if you have a big TV, it just takes up your entire living room, and you are in that house.
That's cool. That's actually really cool.
I really enjoyed watching this movie. I don't know that I would call it fun.
Fair. Yeah.
I would like to end this part of our discussion and just say that Lucy Liu, I'm still here. I still love you, and you were fantastic in presence. If you're listening to this podcast, and I think it broke my heart that we finally did a movie with Lucy Liu in it, and she's like not a good person.
Right, she's the villain.
I wouldn't even say villain. I would say
I know.
If there's she's not. No, the villain is Ryan.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing.
She's just not very likable.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, no. Why? Why does she have to be unlikable? It's Lucy Liu.
We'll find a different Lucy Liu horror movie where she's good. We'll do that.
She played a vampire in a movie. I forget what it was called. But yeah, she played a vampire in a movie. But I'll just go put on Kill Bill.
Yeah, dude.
Because I love Lucy Liu and Kill Bill.
Oh, I love Kill Bill.
But she's a villain in that too. But
I know she is. I was like, you're still.
I'll just go watch that TV show Elementary.
There you go. Go watch Charlie's Angels.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Or Charlie's Angels 4 Presence.
What I'm trying to say is, I believe you. Something is here with us. And for whatever reason, you can sense it. For whatever reason, you are different than the rest of us. Gloriously so. And I hope that you never change.
Well, Scotty, that was a lot of fun, and we did a non-horror movie. That's not horror, really. So what's our next one? Is it a horror movie? I don't know. What are you picking for our next movie, bud?
You know, there's a lot of movies that have come out in 2025.
Very true.
And for our next movie, we're not going to watch any of them.
Okay. And again, everybody, this is awesome because I genuinely have no clue what you're picking, so I'm very excited. I love this.
Yeah, I told you would not be able to guess.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It will make sense as soon as I say it.
Okay.
Andrew, what was yesterday?
Yesterday was a joke of a day. It was April 1st. April Fool's Day.
You know, we've done 4 episodes on April Fool's Day. Did you know that? That's 4.
4? Oh my
And not
gosh.
one of those episodes has ever actually been the movie April Fool's Day.
Nice. I've never seen this.
Wait, what?
I've never seen April Fool's Day.
Yes. Oh
The
my
look on
God.
Scotty's face right now, everybody, was genuine success. That was amazing.
I'm so happy. I would have been happy if you'd seen it, but now I don't want to build it up too much, but I was just about to say that April Fool's Day is one of my favorite slashers of all time.
Whoa. Oh,
I think
yeah.
April Fool's Day is a very underrated 80s horror movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our next movie. We're going to watch April Fool's Day.
I am genuinely excited about this because, 1, I've never seen it, but 2, it's always been on my list. I've always had this on my list as one to watch because I know of it. But 3, I love 80s slashers. So
Yes,
I
he
am
does.
so pumped for this, dude. I love it. I love that you picked this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I love that I picked this. You know, our friend Justin Beam, his company, Reverend Entertainment, did a lot of the bonus features for a recent Kino Lorber Blu-ray release of April Fool's Day.
Very cool. That's awesome.
A very short time ago, I was sitting there thinking, you know what? I think April Fool's Day is out on 4K. And so I ordered it. And when I saw all the extras on it, that's when I was like, you know what? That's my next movie.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
So there you go. Everybody, April Fool's Day, which will be 2 weeks after the actual April Fool's Day. But it's still in April. We're still going to talk about it in April.
That works. That's perfect. Oh,
So-
wow.
There you go, buddy. For everybody out there, I'm looking on justwatch.com, and unfortunately, it looks like Well, you might be able to stream this movie for free on Prime Video
Oh, nice.
if you have Prime Video.
I'm actually surprised that this isn't one that's on like Tubi or something, as I feel like they get a lot of 80s slashers. So
Yeah, no, I see Hoopla, which I don't know. I see Fandango at Home. I see Flix Fling, which I don't know.
I
But
don't know that.
but mostly the easiest way to watch, just try Prime Video.
Nice.
That's as of Saturday, March 22nd when we're recording this. So, but go on to justwatch.com. This is not sponsored, but that's where you can find out where you can watch any movie.
I love it.
So,
Oh man, I'm really excited about this, dude. And what I love too is that we can watch it because when, as you said, we're recording this in March. I can watch this on April Fool's Day because I know what movie you're picking. You know,
that's true.
Or even before, I guess. But dude, I'm excited. This is such a cool pick. I love this. I was not expecting this, and I'm so happy.
Everybody, Andrew is giddy.
I am giddy. I don't know.
You know what makes me giddy?
What?
The fact that everybody out there has been listening to Fun with Horror for the past hour and so whatever many minutes. That makes me giddy. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to Fun with Horror.
Yes, thank you. We're both giddy because you've been listening to Fun with Horror. Thank you.
We're giddy kitties.
We need to get a tattoo
Andrew,
that says giddy kitties, buddy.
I'm doing it right now.
I would do it.
BRB. BRB, buddy.
I'm doing it forehead style.
All right, well, before I lose my voice, buddy, I love you.
I love you, buddy.
And everybody out there, I love you. We love you.
We love you.
All right. Have a good April 2nd and the rest of your 2 weeks until April Fool's Day episode. Whatever. Okay, bye.
We're taking over your April. Love you. Bye.
There is an excellent man inside of you, Tyler. I would love to see him soon.